My name is John Lyons. I'm ProStrategy Sales and Marketing Director, and the purpose of today's webinar is to introduce our customers and others who have joined to the Exelsys Human Capital Management Solution. ProStrategy in the last 6 months became partner with Exelsys, and Exelsys enable us provide an easy-to-use human capital management solution that's available as software as a service. It enables organizations to streamline their HR processes, to improve productivity, and ultimately maximize their most valuable asset, their staff, whilst reducing the administration costs associated with that. So this morning's session, I'm delighted to be joined by Kyriakos Fakis, who's the CEO of Exelsys, and it will be primarily Kyriakos who will take us through an introduction to the Exelsys offering, who the company are, the capabilities of the product in a short presentation, and then he will take us through a demo, which will be a high-level introduction to the solution. It'll give everybody a flavor of its capabilities. We'll very happily answer any questions you have, but we would say that if you would like to get into the specifics of your own organization, we'd recommend that we set up a one-to-one session to explore that a little bit further. So just before I hand over to Kyriakos, I'm just going to remind everybody who ProStrategy is. I think a lot of people on today's session are our customers. However, there are some guests who haven't worked with us before. So ProStrategy are our customers' partner for delivering enhanced business outcomes. We provide business applications and analytics solutions. We have a team of 65 consultants who have a combination of IT and business skills to help implement these solutions. We're a partner with Microsoft, and we implement Microsoft's Dynamics 365 ERP, CRM, and customer engagement solutions. We're also a partner with IBM, and with IBM and Microsoft capabilities, we implement a range of enterprise performance management, data analytics, and data management solutions. Ultimately, we are helping our clients to streamline and automate their processes, to enhance their operations, whilst delivering personalized customer engagement to their customers. The objective is to drive enhanced business performance across the organization, and using the data to deliver insights to help you run your businesses more effectively. We've been in business for over 35 years, or 35 years this year, should I say. And over the last 5 years, we've grown 14% year on year. We have over 200 active customers. We have a very high retention rate. Over 96% of our customers have been with us for 5 years or more. So it illustrates that when we deliver solutions for our customers, they tend to stay with us. Over our many years of implementing solutions, we have developed our own proven methodology, which has successfully implemented over 400 projects, and all of our delivery processes are ISO certified, and indeed all of our project managers are PMI certified. So quality and the quality of our deliverables is something we take very seriously. So that's just a reminder on who ProStrategy are, and now I'm going to hand over to Kyriakos, who's going to help us understand more about the Exelsys solution and how it delivers an easy-to-use human capital management solution. Kyriakis.
Thank you very much. The idea today is to give you a short overview of the solution. Exelsys is a very comprehensive human resource management system, which, however, can be used either in a simple way or it can be used in a very sort of expanded and comprehensive way, depending on the customer needs. It is very configurable, and therefore it can be suited to different customer requirements. So I'm going to start with a short slide presentation, and then we will sort of go through a number of screens within the system. And as John said earlier, the idea today is not to give you an extensive demonstration, which would require a couple of hours, but just to give you a high-level overview. Exelsys, when it was designed on 4 basic principles to be very easy to use. So it uses a very modern MS-like user interface. It's very easy to implement, can easily load data from existing databases or spreadsheets when you start up the system. It provides the confidentiality and security that is required by such systems. It is GDPR compliant, and one other thing, it has a very low cost of ownership in comparison with other systems offering the same degree of functionality. Exelsys is based on the software as a service model, so there's no upfront costs. It's just a subscription fee that is paid on a year-to-year basis based on the number of employees and the different modules that are used within the organization. Now, some of the benefits of the system are you can have anytime, anywhere access from any device. As I said, it's a subscription-based system. You always have the latest version, so there's no painful upgrades. The system is being upgraded on an evolutionary sort of basis. You don't need to worry about any backups because we use a fully redundant data model, and we do all that for the customers. Very simple to learn, straightforward to use. There's no hardware or other hidden costs. It's very scalable, being based on Microsoft Azure is extremely scalable and scales with your business. Now, very importantly, it has seamless integration with tools that people already know, like Excel, Word, Outlook, and other Microsoft products. If you're using Microsoft Office 365 or Google apps, you can have a single sign-on, which means that your people do not need to remember many different passwords. Now, the most important thing from the point of view of human resource management is that it is one system that integrates all areas of human capital management based on the latest Microsoft toolset. Now, from the point of view of the business functionality, the system comes in 2 flavors, the standard edition and the professional edition. And then there is, if you like, the enterprise edition, where you can add additional modules. Standard edition consists of the basic employee information management, absence and leave management, training and development management, organizational structures, positions, compensation management. And then over that, you have performance management, different types of appraisals like normal appraisals, competencies, goals, 360-degree appraisals. Then there's recruitment management, which also allows you to link the system with your website and allows you to allows candidates to go online and apply for jobs that you advertise. And Exelsys can also integrate with local job sites. For example, in Northern Ireland, we connected it with NI jobs and Recruit NI. Underpinning everything is employee and manager self-service, because the system was designed from the beginning to be a self-service system. And then, as I said, there's a number of other modules, which I'm going to just skip through quickly. There's expenses for expense claims, health and safety, time attendance and shift planning, surveys, alerts and notifications, connectivity through any other third-party system using the OData protocol, which is the same one that Microsoft is using as well. So let's move on to the next. Exelsys is geared for international operations as well, but it can also be used for companies that have one office, one site. But if your company is operating, for example, in the Republic of Ireland, in Northern Ireland, in the UK, the system is able to cope with different rules and regulations that may exist in these various territories. It's also multi-language, multi-currency, uses different working calendars for each country or location, supports multiple time zones, supports different ways of expressing the decimal point and the dates, and works on all platforms. It's a browser-based system, so you don't need to do any installation on the actual PCs that you're using. Exelsys has a lot of integrated integrations, so it can integrate with a lot of different other systems like Microsoft Dynamics NAV from version 5 to Business Central, and a lot of other systems that you can just see as I am sort of scrolling along. For customers who are actually using Microsoft Dynamics NAV, there is an out-of-the-box connector, and this is a screen that goes into NAV and allows NAV to be configured to connect automatically with Exelsys and share information. So this is an NAV screen where you specify all the different things, and then you can use the Exelsys HCM sync in order to do the synchronization. Now, where it integrates, the points of integration is, well, first of all, it's employees. In NAV, there's an employee table, which is also used in many other places, like in the fixed assets. So that gets synchronized. We also synchronize expenses if you're using the Exelsys expenses approval flow system. Then all that, once approved, the expenses go into NAV and they're converted into journals and get posted as usual within NAV. Now, if you're using the projects module in Exelsys, that can integrate into the jobs module in NAV. From the point of view of the user interface, we can see here that we have a mobile user, or we call it a light user, where we have two interfaces. The light user interface, which is really very simple, intuitive, very easy to use. Anyone can actually use it without any problem. And this is the interface that is used actually by most of the employees within a company. And then we have the sort of more sophisticated full user interface that is typically used by team managers and also the HR administration team. So this is a full user interface system, and we're going to also see it live. Exelsys uses a number of different dashboards. So for each different module, like here we see a dashboard based on employee demographics. These are out of the box, ready to use dashboards that you just call and you see all the results. But we can also integrate with Power BI, and then you can customize your own KPIs and also analytics. The shift planner modules for retail companies that have staff working on shifts. The mobile module allows you to access the system in a very easy way. We have an innovative approach here with email notifications. We use email notifications within the system to push approval notifications to managers, and then they can approve these within the email, so they don't have to go back into the system in order to approve, to do any approvals. They can just do it within the email, and that's a great improvement productivity. As I said, we have powerful analytics with Power BI. This is just an example. Here's an example of analytics from within Excel, drawing data directly from the system. Exelsys is now active in a number of different countries and also has implementations in a lot of different market sectors, as we see here on the slides. This is just a short list of some of the companies using Exelsys in different countries. Some of these names might be known to you. So in short, Exelsys will help you to streamline processes, increase productivity, and focus on managing your human capital assets. So before I move on to the actual demonstration, are there any questions so far? Okay, I will move on with the actual demonstration of the system. I'm now logged in as a simple user. Nicole is a simple user, so Nicole is using the mobile user interface or the light user interface. This interface can be used on a browser, as we see here, from a PC, or you can download the app from the stores, whether you are using Apple or Android. You can load it from the relevant stores and run it on your device. So as soon as Nicole goes into the system, she sees some of her personal information, like you can see here, last appraisal score and the Bradford factor. She can go and view her absences, so she knows, how much holiday leave she has available. So we can see that she has a lot of available leave there. Yes, 32 days. So she feels that she can go and request some leave for for February. So I'm going to go and request a leave of absence. So I simply go to my absences there. I can see the history of previous absences that have been submitted, and I can also see the status, whether they've been approved or not. So let me just enter another absence. I will just go and request in February, from the 7th of February to the 11th. The system calculates that these 3 working days, so it removes, doesn't take account of the weekends, so it knows it's weekends. So here I can just enter any explanation for my manager to see. So and then simply I just submit it for my manager to approve. So the system can be set up to have multiple levels of approval. The way it has been set up here is just for this specific company, it's just a single level of approval. So this request has been forwarded to Nicole's manager to approve. And if you want to see who that is, it's we can go to the classification tab, and we can see that Nicole is reporting to Linda Martin. So Linda Martin is the person who it needs to approve this request. So we can go into Linda's email, which is here, and we can see that we have the request has already arrived in her email. So there's a calendar invitation if she wants to put it in the calendar as well. It says that Nicole requested leave for 3 days there from that date to that date, and below it gives a fully detailed account of the absence balances related to the holiday leave. So the manager, in this case Linda, is fully informed of the situation, and she can take an informed decision as to whether to grant the leave request or not. So if she wants to do that, she can go and say, click on approve from there. She does not need to log into the system. So I simply go there, I click on approve, and the system goes and approves the request, and everything gets updated within the system. So that was a cycle that we went through. And from here, Nicole can also do a number of other things. She can enter expenses, she can carry out the self-appraisal, she can see if there's any other courses available for her to enroll. So in this case, there's nothing. And she can also go and see if there's any other documents that have been published. Like you can publish various documents that would be available to be viewed by employees, like your corporate handbook or procedure manuals or things like that. So going into the employee handbook, for example, I can just click on this and I can see the employee handbook. So any documents you have, you can just upload them onto the system and make them available. And these are also available on the go, because as we can see, this is available from the mobile user interface. So that was a short sort of introduction of how a simple employee like Nicole can use the system, enter an absence request, how her manager Linda can approve it to the email in a very simple way. And then we can now go into the system to see how it can be used by an HR manager, for example. So we're logged in now as John. John is a general manager, but he's also, in this case, it's a small company. He's an HR manager as well, so he has full access to the system. Here we see an employee demographics dashboard where we can see a number of different KPIs. These change according to the selections here. So if I usually it goes back 12 months, but if I want to see how things were from the 1st of 2019 to the end of 2019. Yeah, I can see that there were 45 employees during this period. 6 people who had 6 leavers. We had 8 joiners who joined the company. We had 0 bad hires. Bad hires are people who leave before their probation period expires. We can see the absentees in the KPI. This is the Bradford factor, in fact, which is very good. And this is the average age of these people, and also the turnover ratio. Now you can select and filter by department, by location, or by department. So these figures will change in accordance to the department that is selected. For example, now I selected sales London, so we have 5 employees there, and these are the statistics. And so we can just close this. In the system, you have the menu on the left, like a lot of other Microsoft applications, and then you have favorites in the center. It's a favorites dashboard where you can pick up things that you usually use. So if I want to see my reports to organizational chart, I can easily click on this, and let's say I want to see the job title of each person. I also want to see the organizational unit, and I want to do that. So I get the chart is in a compressed format, I can expand it. For example, here, if I click there, I expand Linda's organization. If I want to see everything, I can auto-size it, and I can just move it around. So I can export this as an image and include it in a presentation, or I can export it to Excel in a format which is immediately importable into Visio. A lot of HR departments are using Visio, but with this you can just get it out of Exelsys, put it into Visio, and do some more sort of change some of the formatting and so on, and then include it in your presentation. Going into the employees table, just to have a quick look through that. You get the list of employees, and also you can get the tree structure of the organization. We can see here that this is a group of companies. It's consisting of APC UK, APC Ireland, APC UAE, and APC France. When I click on any one of these nodes, I automatically filter the people who are in that department. Now, this form is really intended for the HR managers and the people who are in the HR administration, because it contains all the information that is being maintained about employees. So if I get the head office, I get 28 people there. And now if I can open up the right panel, which gives me a summary of a person's sort of details. And if I click on Linda, for example, I can have a quick preview of Linda's details over there. Or I can close that and I can open up, I can go into edit view or edit mode or view record, depending on what permissions have been granted to me, because Exelsys is role-based and you can grant different permissions to different users within the organization. So if I go into edit mode there, I can see the full employee card. Information is organized in different tabs. You can also add your own user fields in case the application does not provide for some of the data that you want to keep track of. There's a lot of other information there, like we don't have the time to go through all this, but for example, you get the position history of this person, which shows you, the various stages that this person has gone through the organization. So we can see here that Linda here started as a salesperson there in 2002. Then she was promoted to sales manager in 2007. And then she got a further promotion, which was mainly a promotion in seniority, not in a position, where the salary also increased. You can denote the salary in different currencies, as you can see here. And if you want to know more details about the position, you can edit the position record, and you can see the full details of the position record. Now, the position record is like the engagement record of this employee. It includes all the details for that term, for that period of time. So this is from 2010, and it's valid until now because there's no end date. To find information within the system is extremely easy. For example, if I'm looking to find who was recruited after 2012, I can simply go and enter a filter there, select the employment date, say greater than 01/01/2012, and I get a list of all those people who were recruited after that time. I can also do multiple filtering. So if I want to see now who was recruited after that date, but was also more than 40 years old, I can just get the double filter there, and I can go and enter place a filter on the age greater than 40, and now I get all the people who are more than 40 years old and were recruited up to 2012. In Exelsys, it's very easy to export information. Whatever screen you're looking at, whether it's employees, applicants, or anyone else, you can go there and you can export the details. You can export to Excel, Word, PDF, XML, CSV. So simply click on Excel and it gets exported to Excel. It's very easy to do that. Now, in addition to that, if I want to do quick analysis of the information I have about employees, you have the quick charts, which allows you to quickly show a chart. So I can go there and get some of the saved charts that I have. For example, I can get this chart by number of people by age band. So I have the age bands at the bottom, and I can see this. If I don't like this chart and I want it to be, for example, not an area chart, but a pie chart, I can just select that, and I can change the color. I can make it blue, for example, and apply this. So I get this, or I can make it into a bar chart. And I can get it in this way. So it's very easy to analyze information in any different way. All the employee fields are available to analyze and group and summarize, and I can then export this into an image and put it in my presentation, for example. Or I can also produce it in a table format and include it in some other reports. So that was going quickly through the employee form to show you how easy it is to find information, the depth of information that can be maintained within the system. And you can also see here that I can change my theme. So if I don't like this theme, I can select the Neptune theme, which is slightly different. So I can change my theme there. In addition to this, for example, we are looking into the absences area. I can get an absence planner to see who will be absent in the following period. And I can go back there and select the absence planner. We could also see this from Nicole's view, because Nicole, who is a simple employee, could go there, and if you wanted to see before submitting a leave request, who else would be available or who else would be on leave during the time period that she wanted to request leave, she could go into the absences planner, and she could see, who else would be on leave there. She can go into previous months as well and see who is taking leave. The way the system is set up by default is to show to each person who else in that department has planned some holiday leave. But this is configurable. You can change it as you like. You can make it to appear for each person to see only their own, or you can see an entire department, or you can see an entire division, and so on. Going back into John Roberts' form, this is the leave planner, and by default, it, as I said, it selects the head office, because this is his department, but he has the option to clear it and see everybody's view. So I can just go there and see the leave planner for everyone. So I can see there the details over here. Exelsys provides sophisticated performance management, allowing you to create appraisals for a group of employees or for all employees, including competencies or goals or a combination. It also allows 360-degree appraisals. Let's have a quick look at that, and then we can perhaps end this demonstration, because I am very much aware of the time. So if we go into the, what we say, the employee feedback there, this is the 360-degree appraisals. And let us select Linda. So we can see here Linda's 360-degree appraisal. 360-degree appraisals is where you get feedback from peers, from subordinates, from external people, even from clients and suppliers, and also from your superiors. And so there were different competencies that were used to rate Nicole. Ability to organize and motivate staff, for example, overall leadership skills, and then you can see the different groups of people, how they rated Nicole, Linda, sorry, and the score, the average score for each one of these. So with this, I'm going to stop here, because as I said, the idea was to give you an initial overview of the system. There is a lot of depth of functionality, and if anyone is interested, we can explore that further on a one-to-one basis. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, we will be free to, yeah.
Yes, sorry, I was just asking about the integration between Business Central and Exelsys, the data flow and so on. Maybe explain that a little bit to us, and how complicated or how easy that may be.
It's quite easy, because there is an out of the box connector that we have recently completed. Actually, now it's in the last sort of testing stage for Business Central, and we are in the process of installing it at the customer with a partner. It is very easy because it's an out of the box connector. It was designed and done as an extension, because this is the way it's done now on Business Central. Previously, it was done as a sort of special numbered code unit that you had to install within the objects of Navision, as we used to call them. But with Business Central, it's an extension.
Okay, so it'll be the same for everybody, and it's just a simple fit as such.
Yeah. However, you know, if a specific company needs a customization and wants to integrate it with Business Central in a different way, or to include some other points of interfacing, that is also possible. It's something that is doable.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Yep.
Hundreds, what would be your general standard customer?
Well, I will tell you that you know, the minimum license for Exelsys is for 50 users, so that gives you, you know, an idea. But our sort of average size of customer is 200 to 300 employees, because in Exelsys, everyone is a user. It's not like Business Central or Navision, where, you know, you have a company of 200 employees, but then you have 50 users, for example, the accounts people, and also the logistics and stock control and so on. In Exelsys, every employee is a user, because they have processes related to them that they have to execute, whether that would be their, their appraisal or the absence request or submitting an expense or attending a training course and evaluating a training course. So everyone is a user within the system, and the minimum number of users is 50, but we can go up to 3. I mean, there is no limit from the point of view of the application, but from the more marketing point of view, our target market is customers between, say, 100 and 3,000 employees. The average size is 300 to 400 employees companies. So we have some that are 2,000, another 1 or 2 that are 3,000, but most of them range between 200 and 600. This is the sort of range, if you like, coming to an average of 300 employee companies.
Kyriakos, another question for you. On average, do you have any metrics to show how much time people kind of save by using Exelsys compared to another system?
How much time would they be saving?
Yeah, so with the current systems that are out there, how much easier is it to use your system compared to other ones?
Well, it depends. I mean, for example, when it comes to implementation, we have actual metrics that show that Exelsys can be implemented in at least half of the time that you would need to implement the same functionality in some of the other systems on the market. Then when it comes to actually running the system, we have a sizing estimator which you can run. I mean, it's different for each company. So a company can take it and respond to the questions, and that will give you a measure of the time that would be saved by using Exelsys. And we can provide that to anyone, to you, to try it out.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe finally, Kyriakos, could you talk briefly about, I suppose, what you would see as a typical implementation process and time frame?
Yeah, sure. Well, assuming we have a company of between 100 and 200 employees with a few offices within the country, then to implement the standard and professional editions would require about 20 man-days of effort from the point of view of the consulting time that would be required. And that could be done usually within 3 months, I would say. We have had implementations that went live within a month, but that's the exception. Most of the companies, they would need between 1.5 to 3 months to go live. There is the way that the system is implemented is very similar to the way you would implement Microsoft Dynamics NAV or Business Central. There is an initial getting the requirements workshop stage where you go through with the consultants and they track down your requirements, going through the system, seeing whether there's any gaps and how these gaps will be closed by configuration and configuring the system accordingly. And the system is set up and configured according to the customer requirements. The system is then delivered on a demonstration testing platform configured with the customer's data, which is uploaded from Excel spreadsheets. Templates are provided for various entities like employees, positions, training records, and departments, and so on. So all this information gets populated into the system. So the customer gets a configured system with their own data, and then there is a sort of user acceptance testing or pilot testing, whatever you want to call it, where the customer uses the system and plays the various scenarios. Now, this is a time where the system is usually fine-tuned from the results that come out of the actual pilot testing. And once everything is as is anticipated to be, the go-live date is decided and the system goes live. In other cases, of course, customers decide to take the system live in a staged approach, and this is becoming more and more of a trend nowadays. For example, they would set up the original, the basic employee information management, and then and also absence and leave management, and then go live with that, and that can happen usually within 3-4 weeks. Then they go ahead with the appraisers, for example. They implement the appraisers depending on the time of the year, whether it's near the appraisers period or not. They would then implement the training and the development modules, recruitment, and so on and so forth. So there's flexibility there, whether to go and implement everything in one go or whether to go in a staged sort of approach.
That's great. That's I think gives everybody a good sense as to it's a rapid implementation of a pretty comprehensive system, and can be either implemented as a complete suite or can be rolled out on a module by module basis for the various capabilities.
And that also goes is also true for the licensing, because some customers prefer to just go for the standard edition, implement that, which basically consists of the employee information management, absence management, positions, and training. And when that is also is all up and running, then they go ahead and they add recruitment and performance management.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Is there anybody on the call who has a question? If you could just unmute yourself. I think most people went on mute earlier when I asked when there was some background noise. So if anybody has any further questions.
Yeah, could you show us the timesheet input stage, please?
Yes. Now, I have to ask a question there. There's two types of timesheets. There's a type of timesheets where you check in and check out, like a clock card, or you have a project-based timesheet where you allocate the time to specific projects and tasks. Which one of the two are you talking about?
Yeah, to be the project based timesheet that we'd be interested in.
Okay. Let's move on to Nicole's profile. Just show you that. So Nicole can go into the work time area and go into the, let's see, let's close that. Record project time. And so Nicole now can see the projects that she's working on. She will not see the other 100 projects that other people are working on, but only her own projects. So if we go into the CRM implementation there, these are the various tasks that she's been of that project where she's allocated to work. So suppose today I did some work there. Now there are some, when you set up the system, there are some projects that you can actually add time to, and some that she's not allowed to add time. Let's find one which is appropriate in this case. And I don't see anything. 1 minute. Yeah. See, on the previous project, Nicole was only there she's involved in the project, but she was not actually assigned to do any tasks. But in this project, the biotech group, she cannot, she can work there. So if we go, let's go back, the biotech group, requirements analysis, she cannot time. So I go there and I say, okay, I'll have to go and enter a time back in 2014 or 15, I think. So I can say here I worked 4 hours, 4 hours there. I can enter a description, for example, collected requirements, and I can enter here the percentage of completion. So if I think I'm up to 90%, I can update that and then I can submit it. So it's very easy to go and enter time on a project. And then when you can have timesheets on a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly basis, and then these timesheets, like the absences, they can be submitted for approval to your manager. So if we go back there, and I go to my timesheets, Nicole can see here the timesheets there. So if I click there, I can just print that or submit it for approval. Now you can have various controls in the system, or you can revoke the controls. For example, some companies, they say you have to submit a timesheet which is at least 38 hours for the week. Or I can print this, for example, now, and then I can see my my complete timesheet before I submit it. And then this can go into my manager for approval. So this is the timesheet which is on a project by project basis. There's also the normal log in, log out, where I can go into the work attendance and I can say, okay, I want to check in now, and the system will check me in. It tells me how many hours I have worked that week, which is on top. I can just tell the system, and now it keeps the clock running. And when I check out, I can click on the checkout to check out of work, which means that I can have employees using mobile phones to check in, check out, or I could also have like a kiosk at the beginning, at the entrance of an office or a retail shop, where employees go in and they have to record the time on a tablet. They do the same thing really as I did here, but on a central tablet or PC within that retail shop or office.
Very much for that really good introduction to the Exelsys human capital management solution. We will send out the recording of this webinar to everybody who attended, and please let us know if you're interested in setting up a one-to-one session with ourselves and Kyriakis to explore your own individual requirements. So thank you everyone for your time this morning. I hope you found it useful and look forward to talking to you over the coming weeks.